Hello all and welcome to my page. I'm Marcus Cash. Down below you will see my media handles for basically everything. YouTube, Instagram, you name it. I appreciate you stopping by the channel. Before I get into my rant of this episode, be sure to click the bell, like, share, subscribe, comment away, and share with any and all. I do appreciate your time and thank you in advance. Welcome back. I appreciate you guys stopping back and checking out the channel again. We're gonna do episode 2 essentially of Bruce Prichard's Monday Night Raw. This is being for June 22nd of 2020. Starts off with Drew McIntyre. It comes out to the ring, cuts a promo about his title defense that he had with R-Truth and a tag match against MVP and Lashley. Out comes Dolph Ziggler.
Look who's here! He's back!
He informs Drew McIntyre that he and Robert Roode, they're gonna come to Raw in exchange for AJ Styles going to SmackDown. So it's a 2-for-1 trade. He pretty much demands a WWE title match because he feels like he's owed one from Drew McIntyre, just because Drew McIntyre was fired before and they skipped the whole NXT thing, but that it was Dolph Ziggler that's the reason Drew McIntyre is back in the WWE in the first place, even though they never really explained a few years ago why Dolph Ziggler plucked Drew McIntyre out of NXT to come to Raw back then anyway, but they're ignoring the whole him getting a contract with NXT on his own to begin with. Anyway, Drew McIntyre is the fighting champion. He's the anti-Brock, so he decides that he's gonna go ahead and give Dolph Ziggler this title match at Extreme Rules. Next segment though is Nia Jax coming out to the ring with a chair, and briefly she has a sit-in. She's there and she's lamenting on Charlotte Flair getting another title shot. I hear you, Nia. But she's doing it while complaining about not getting an opportunity herself, even though she had 2 title matches in literally 2 nights against Asuka. Like that just happened. So pots and kettles there. As she's talking, R-Truth comes out. Not that that's safe for him anyway.
Wait a... The irresistible force... R-Truth! She just knocked him... The great question, King.
He informs Nia that this is the scheduled time to defend his, what I like to call the softcore title, the 24/7 championship, against the Ninja leader Akira Tozawa. Ninjas show up. They chase off R-Truth. Charlotte Flair then comes out and she's talking down Nia. They trade barbs about family ties and their history. Apparently Nia's 1-0 against Charlotte. A brawl breaks out though, and Nia ends up injuring Charlotte's arm during a skirmish. I guess to give a story to the title match later on tonight. Now for the third part of the show, it's time for more cinema, and we're back to the movies here with the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders.
Don't you just love going to the movies? The lights are down. The movie's about to start. It's magic.
They have a backstage confrontation where they declare battle and still friendship. It's a very good match, which is typically the case for both sides there. Street Profits and the Viking Raiders. They're pretty good in the ring. They're very talented tag teams, both of them. when they're not bogged down with comedy and now movies. They're very good, entertaining in-ring storytellers. So, you know, all of that's a shame. Anyway, good contest ends with the Street Profits successfully defending their titles against the Viking Raiders with, go ahead and argue with me here, the best frog splash ever in the business. I'm talking about Montez Ford.
One more time, because it looks so nice. Wait for it. Boom! There's the impact from the heavens.
Now, after Montez Ford from the Heavens, which I'm guessing is the name of it, and they get the win there, Andrade and Angel Garza come out and attack the Street Profits, and they take aim at the Tag Team Championships.
This is my destiny.
Which seemed like it was, albeit a thrown together one, the plan for WrestleMania itself. So it looks like we've come back full circle to that. Also, it looks like, I'm hoping here, unless they're going to play into it later on, that we're going to do away with whatever issues that Andrade and Angel Garza was going to have, and we're not going to break them up after all. So, yay. Next segment though, Asuka is coming out to successfully defend her women's title against Charlotte Flair.
Nobody is ready for Asuka.
Very good contest, two very fine women's athletes. They told the story of Charlotte's arm and shoulder that was injured in the brouhaha with Nia Jax earlier in the match, and Asuka was able to get Charlotte into the Asuka lock. Like I said, defended her title successfully. Finally gets a win over Charlotte, because Charlotte has just been beating Asuka left and right anytime they have ever even looked at each other. Pretty much ever. So glad to see that happen that way. It then goes to Edge cutting a wonderful promo in a worked shoot fashion. It's darkened. He's in the performance center inside one of their training rings. But it sets up a third match versus Randy Orton after Edge's triceps injury heals. Essentially, he's upset him. He's made it even more personal. Go figure, because he literally put his hands on his wife. But Randy Orton's made it more personal now by kicking his friend of 36 years, Christian, or Jay, as it's referred to, in the head. So, I guess Christian over Beth Phoenix for Edge. Nonetheless, if it's at least more like the greatest wrestling match ever that didn't need the tagline, and a little less like the last man standing match that went on for eons at WrestleMania, I'm here for it. Next segment though, sixth part of the show, Nia Jax, she's backstage and she further attacks Charlotte Flair. I guess now Nia's history of injuring people has become her new gimmick. They say the best gimmicks are real life things turned up to 10. I don't know if that's a gimmick we want to be rewarding, or a real life thing we want to be rewarding. I don't think Nia Jax should be on TV or working with the company if she's constantly hurting people, but I guess it makes sense to use that lack of control to further narratives. I don't know. We'll see. But for whatever reason, again keeping Nia Jax in close proximity on the show with R-Truth.
Wait a... The irresistible force... R-Truth! She just knocked him... The great question, King.
The next segment is R-Truth, who's now going to defend his, again, what I call the softcore title, the 24/7 championship, against Ninja Akira Tozawa. And immediately, Lashley comes out and he lays out R-Truth. Lashley is none too pleased that he's not the WWE champion with that tag match him and MVP had against R-Truth and Drew McIntyre last week. Has R-Truth in the full Nelson, has no interest in the softcore title. He just lays out R-Truth. Him and MVP walk away. Akira Tozawa takes advantage though, like a thief in the night, or like a ninja, and takes the pinfall, takes the title, and Ninja leader Akira Tozawa is your new 24/7 champion. Yuck. Not just to Akira, to all of it. To the whole division, to everything Akira Tozawa, to everything R-Truth, to everything about ninjas in 2020 and wrestling. All of it. Ugh.
He's gotta puke! He's gotta puke!
Next segment, I don't know her name, but not Charlie Caruso. She gives us an update on Charlotte Flair's injury. Turns out we'll find out a little bit later that Charlotte's legitimately hurt, although not her arm, her collarbone. Charlotte's going to be out of action for quite a few months. But basically not Charlie Caruso's like, no word on how, we'll get updates, we'll inform you, but she's hurt, right? Natalya Neidhart, interjects and makes the segment all about her. Natty has an announcement to make after her match with Liv Morgan tonight, but they don't have time to just spit it out of her face and say whatever it is. Alright, a little more heelish Natty. Let's find out. Natalya's coming out, and Lana is joining her to the ring. They had their moment last week where they understood each other. But Lana accompanies Natty out to the ring, and the match with Liv Morgan is good for what it is. I'm happy Liv Morgan's on TV again, so I'll take whatever it is going to happen, even if it means what happened tonight, where Natalya is getting a push, and she has Liv Morgan tap out to the sharpshooter. She's the niece of Bret Hart, and her sharpshooter looks terrible. I don't understand. But she gets the win with the sharpshooter, and her and Lana celebrate together, but Natalya never makes her announcement that she needed to make. She just hugs Lana and they go away. And I don't know if that means we gotta wait another week, or that Lana is her new valet and that is the announcement, or I don't know. As long as it's not another love angle, I'm whatever. Just not another love angle. That's all I ask. That made me sick.
He's gotta puke! He's gotta puke!
Fast forwarding just a little bit here, just to keep everything together. Backstage, Liv Morgan is distraught because things just aren't going her way, and she's picked up another loss. And Ruby Riott pops up, and she's trying to talk to Liv Morgan, and Liv Morgan's just not having it, just not trying to hear any of it. She's having an awful time. Not right now, Ruby, not right now. Leave me alone.
Look, no means no. No, that means no. All right, but no, stop it. What are you doing? Oh my God.
And walks off. And Ruby Riott looks a little dejected to have been brushed off by Liv, or that Liv's upset, or both. But it looks like potentially, albeit maybe as a fan favorite face good girl kind of group, 2/3 of the Riott Squad might be joining forces again. I don't mind it. I don't think that was a group that ever should have been broken up in the first place. and I think every member of that group suffered when it did break up. So put Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan back together. Never really cared for Sarah Logan, but if that gets her a job again, fine, I'm here for that too. For the next segment here, Ric Flair, woo, he comes out, and he's coming out to name Randy Orton as the greatest wrestler ever. Now, before that though, he cuts a promo on Nia Jax on behalf of Charlotte Flair. I love that. There's too many times where the obvious thing that makes sense, like Ric Flair cutting a promo for his daughter on the woman that just injured his daughter, gets completely ignored because it has nothing to do with that exact segment that they booked. Okay? All too easily, you could have predicted Ric Flair come out and talk about Randy Orton and talk about Edge and completely ignore the fact that his daughter is on the shelf now because of this wild woman. So I liked it. It ties things together. I'm hoping maybe a little more Ric Flair on my TV because I love the Nature Boy. I guess he'll maybe start being in the corner of Randy Orton, or at least just involved with him backstage. I'm hoping it's not just a one-off, but also a little more interaction with his own daughter that's on the same show whenever Charlotte Flair comes back. So at least there's some possibilities there. Ric Flair and Randy Orton both cut pretty good promos, but they're interrupted by the Big Show, who is still here, unfortunately.
Just go away.
Big Show, I'm begging you, go away. Your role last week is forced and not very needed. You don't really add anything to the product. You're still not adding anything to the product this week. You're all upset. You're an angry giant because your friends Edge and Christian have been put on the shelf by Randy Orton, but I've been watching for 25 years. I don't remember anything about Big Show, Edge, and Christian being a thing. Kurt Angle, Edge, and Christian, sure. Edge, Christian, and Rhino, sure. Edge, Christian, and Joey Legend, sure. I don't remember Big Show, Edge, and Christian. That was never a thing. I don't know what we're talking about. Go away.
Just go away.
Now, for the 11th segment, as I have it listed here, Sasha Banks and Bayley, the SmackDown Women's Champion, and collectively the Women's Tag Team Champions, they're out to defend their Women's Tag Team Championship against the Iconics. Now, Sasha Banks and Bayley successfully defend those tag team championships against the Iconics, so I'm a little heartbroken because I would never have the Iconics lose ever, personally speaking. I think they're tremendous. But Sasha Banks is now feeling a little jealous of Bayley. Sasha Banks wants to experience what it's like to have two championships also. Tensions are rising a little bit between her and Bayley, but Sasha Banks wants to challenge Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship.
Nobody is ready for Asuka.
So they want to be the two-woman power trip here, where Sasha Banks is the Raw Women's Champion and Bayley's the SmackDown Women's Champion, and together they're the Tag Team Champions. I don't hate that. I preferred if they would have lost the belts to the Iconics, honestly, back at Backlash, and not even have won them in the first place. I would have had them lose the tag team titles on this episode of Raw. But if dueling champions is what gets them, on this path to fighting with each other a month plus from now at SummerSlam, and then maybe immediately separating the two right after that, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Raw getting Sasha Banks and SmackDown getting Bayley, and separating those two finally after forever and a day. after they have their blow-off match at SummerSlam. So, seems like they have a plan. It seems like it's coming together pretty well. So, I'm okay. I'm just hoping the Iconics don't get lost in this. Now, the second to last segment here that I have, MVP has his VIP lounge. It's a lot of letters going on here. With Apollo Crews. And he's trying to recruit Apollo Crews into what would be a stable again. He's doing this right before Apollo is set to defend his United States Championship against Shelton Benjamin. Now, Apollo rejects the offer of MVP again.
Look, no means no. No, that means no, all right? But no, stop it. What are you doing? Oh, my God.
Now, MVP almost helped Shelton get the win. Nonetheless, though, Apollo Crews prevails. He retains the belts, and Lashley comes out and does MVP's bidding again. He throws Apollo Crews into a full Nelson, and he lays him out on the ramp as they walk away. By force or not, the U.S. Championship is going to be represented by an MVP, whether Apollo Crews is that champion or not. So, I'm excited. Apparently, the plan is still for Apollo Crews to join the group anyway, but considering how hard he's pushing back, I'm not sure if they're not going to screw that up. But interested nonetheless. Anyway, for the last segment, and my least favorite segment personally, Dominic and Rey Mysterio, they come out to the ring and they're each wanting to fight Seth Rollins individually, but ultimately they decide they're going to fight them together and show Seth Rollins what family means. Seth Rollins comes out, he kneels on the ramp. Austin Theory and Buddy Murphy come out afterwards, but they're jumped by Aleister Black and Humberto Carrillo. Now, all hell breaks loose. Basically, the good guys, they're able to get their hands all on Seth Rollins, and they're going to try to take out Seth Rollins' eye, like Seth Rollins tried to take out Rey Mysterio's eye, but Buddy Murphy saves the day, and the heels get away safely. The show ends kind of abruptly, in my opinion, right after that. But it seems like, albeit uneven, we've got a couple of stables going on, right? We've got the Monday Night Messiah, Seth Rollins, and his disciples, Austin Theory, and what used to be Buddy Murphy. And then on the other side, you've got Aleister Black, Humberto Carrillo, and Rey Mysterio. And then there's Dominic somehow, who I'm still hoping, if he's going to be on TV, and my preference is that he's not even on TV, but if he's going to be on TV, that there's a swerve and he screws over his dad and he costs Rey Mysterio a match. He joins an alliance with Seth Rollins, but you can only hope, and probably unlikely, but whatever. Nonetheless, though, as a whole, in a nutshell, second episode, Bruce Prichard's been in complete control of Monday Night Raw, and second Monday Night Raw I've enjoyed, more so than not, significantly more so than not. I was rooting against Bruce Prichard, and I don't know how soon I'm gonna regret what I'm about to say, but he's been doing a pretty decent job thus far from what I can tell. So I might be turning the corner on what I've said before. Nonetheless, though, some of you have messaged me privately instead of just commenting down below. Perfectly fine either way, but the comment section is open. Feel free to comment below. Let me know what you liked, let me know what you didn't like, let me know what you might foresee, how you might book things, or just feel free to rant on me. Either way, again, like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate your time in advance, and I'll check you out next time. F is for Family reaction videos are coming out soon though. Links at the bottom. I'll see you around.